Ah, boy. I'm gonna get some hate for this one. Greetings, Sentinels fans. I want to do another deep dive into a character, and this time I want to go into space. I have some opinions about Captain Cosmic that many of you might disagree with. For this reason, I'm going to try to do my best to keep things to a logical, mechanical basis, but also put in a little bit of game feel and emotional stuff in there as well. So without further ado, let's talk about Captain Cosmic. I feel I should first state a bias that I might have predisposed against him. I don't really like playing support characters. They usually don't have the punch or cool factor that I'm looking for, though Sentinels does a very good job in making interesting ways to play each of the supports so that they aren't boring. Except Cosmic. I'm sorry guys, but Captain Cosmic is boring to me. He's not an effective damage dealer, he's middling at support, he's an okay defender at best, he is shockingly slow for the card play he has available to him, and for a prep-based hero he doesn't really scale very well. He feels like a waste of a hero slot. However, it is hard to make comparisons with him because the effectiveness of support characters will vary heavily depending upon your team. There are some effects that are good for everybody, but there are many effects that are preferable for certain heroes. For example, because Lifeline likes to hurt himself a lot, it might be a good idea to give him healing or damage reduction. With support characters, you will always find edge cases where that support is really helpful. So in a way, it makes it difficult to justify my dislike for this hero in gameplay terms. However, I will do my best. Let's go over the basic idea for the character. His particular gimmick with his deck is he has cards with the special keyword Construct. These are not ongoing or equipment cards, but are instead targets with hit points. Most of them, once played, are placed under a hero to provide them a bonus. They can be attacked and destroyed like any other target, but are immune to ongoing and equipment wipes. All of Cosmic's cards that aren't constructs interact with them in some sort of way. While I like the idea, basically like a reverse Chrono Ranger, wherein instead of bounties you put against the villains, it's constructs that give bonuses to the heroes. But I do not like the execution. First, why only 4 hit points? 4 hit points is not enough to keep them alive. For context, while many villains don't attack targets with the lowest hit points, every single one of them has access to area of effect damage, a lot of it on short notice. And most of the time is in increments of 2 or 3 damage, sometimes more. 2 hits like that and all the preparation you made in that game is gone. A lot of environments even have this. Heck, bring in Dr. Wrath, an environment introduced in the same expansion that Captain Cosmic was in. It almost feels like Dr. Wrath was designed to destroy Cosmic and his constructs, what with the huge amounts of area of effect damage being dealt by it. Every villain has the capacity to shut down Captain Cosmic, and most of them without any kind of warning. Well, you might be thinking, other target-based heroes like Luminary and Unity have units that are just as fragile. To which I say yes, but there is an issue with that. Take Luminary and Akash 3a. Luminary's devices have 5 hit points, and 3's seeds have 3. They are just as fragile as Cosmic's constructs. However, the devices and seeds are all designed to be disposable. Luminary wants cards in his trash. He even has a Doomsday device that specifies that he wishes targets in his trash. Along the same vein, 3's seeds don't usually do anything if they are sitting around on the field. They have effects when they are played from the environment deck, and they have effects when they are destroyed. It's generally more valuable to destroy them than to keep them around. Cosmic's constructs, however, are all designed to be kept in play, so you can reap the benefits from them, or so you can destroy them on your own terms. Well, what about Unity? Her targets are designed to stay in play as well. Well, the difference there is that most of them have survivability. Her B-bot is disposable. Her platform bot has damage reduction. Her Swift bot has damage reduction and can protect the other bots if you want. Swift bot, Cryobot, Champion bot, and Turret bot have 6, 7, 8, and 9 hit points respectively. They can last a few hits. The only non-disposable bot with no defense whatsoever is the Raptor bot. Every target in Cosmic's deck is fragile compared to Unity's arsenal. Second, why do some of the bonuses require the constructs to take damage? Vitality Conduit and Dynamic Siphon both require to be hit, but not destroyed, in order to provide their benefits. Going back to my area of effect example, that means you are likely going to get the effect once before it is destroyed, if that. Maybe you can get more out of them if you hit them with hero attacks that do 1 damage, or heal them with your abundant amount of area of effect healing, but you're not really going to get much out of those. Third, damage is not really going to happen. Not in any meaningful way anyways. There are only 4 cards in Captain Cosmic's deck that allow him to deal damage. Autonomous Blade and Wounding Buffer do not count. Autonomous Blade requires another initiation of damage, and Wounding Buffer requires the enemy attack you first. Of these cards, Destructive Response is the most consistent. It's an ongoing card, so it won't get blown up quite as easily as Constructs, so that's a plus. It deals 3 targets 1 damage whenever a construct is destroyed. Which is nice, but honestly, 1 damage is a bit of a pitiful amount of damage. There's a reason most powers deal 2 or 3 damage at least. 2 damage is the baseline for the game. Any more and you're making progress. Any less and I sincerely hope you're doing prep, or helping us some other way. What about the other cards? Cosmic Weapon gives a power to deal 3 damage to a target. Cosmic can place this on himself to allow him okay damage, but on other heroes it's either a minor boost at best, or inferior to what they already do. And of course the weapon is about as durable as cardboard. Potent Disruption destroys a construct and deals 2 to 5 damage depending on the hit points of the construct you destroyed. In terms of damage, that isn't bad. The problem is, in order to deal that damage, you have to prepare a construct. You have to spend a card play to set it up before you even do anything with it. Not ideal. Compare that to Legacy, who can deal that kind of damage without any additional hassle. Construct Cataclysm runs into the same problem, where it needs preparation in order to work at all. But I use that one even less because it destroys all the constructs. Disruption can destroy 1 construct to achieve 5 damage if the construct is unharmed. Cataclysm, in order to match that, needs to destroy 5 constructs. I struggle to have any more than 4 constructs on the field at any particular point. Usually better to play this when you have 1 or 2 damaged constructs and use the other damage effects, where you deal 3 damage to however many targets as constructs destroyed. And of course, Disruption and Cataclysm are both one-shots, so you can only use them so many times before you have to cycle through your deck. So damage is iffy for him. That is fair because he is a support character. What about defense? Well, I will say that Energy Bracer is pretty solid. -1 damage from all sources is no joke in this game, and being able to plot this defense on any hero target and forget about it is very nice. The Bracer is about as solid as armor in a Hollywood movie, but it's still good. However, he has no other real defense to speak of though. I have heard arguments that the constructs are good for defending against attacks that targets the hero with the lowest hit points. My argument there is that situation is actually not very common. When a villain targets the weakest hero, it is usually a side gig for them. Either it's a change in tactics or it's secondary, usually a throwaway card in their deck. Most of the time the hero with the highest hit points will be targeted because that will ensure that things are happening, but it still prolongs the hero's survival. It's good game design. As a result, it isn't really normal for a villain or environment to target a construct and then leave the heroes alone. We more frequently have area of effect damage, in which case the presence of a construct, and by extension sustained influence, means jack diddly squat for defense purposes. I'd also like to point out Unflagging Animation, possibly his best card, but it has some flaws. The idea is to take constructs from the trash and put them in play. That's a very good effect. However, the retrieval happens at the start of the turn, when I would prefer it to be at the end, so we can get the benefit immediately rather than wait a whole round. Also, while I agree there needs to be a price to pay for that effect, I don't know if self-damage is the right call. The idea is that it would be used in late game so that there are a few constructs in the trash, and you would get back the ones you like. But in the late game, you are also probably going to be fairly hurt, so even more damage might be a bit too much. I usually end up with it in the mid game, and only using it if I have 2 or more constructs in the trash, so that I at least know I can get some use out of it. And now, for the nitty-gritty. The individual constructs. Which are great, which are not. I already covered Energy Bracer and Cosmic Weapon. Dynamic Siphon has potential for providing powers, but it is useless unless the villain attacks it, or you contrive a way for heroes to attack it instead with weak attacks. Augmented Ally is similar in that it provides a power use, but on the hero's turn and at the cost of a card's discard. Personally, I find that better, but not all heroes need a second power on their turn, and I always feel iffy about discarding cards, especially if there aren't any heroes that assist in card draw. Which, by the way, Captain Cosmic does not. But that's a me problem. You might have a different perspective. Autonomous Blade is my favorite of the constructs, as it is the one that you are almost certain to get actual benefits from, as it activates when its hero initiates damage. Unfortunately, that's just 2 damage. Fine if you expect the card to stick around, but as you can already tell, I don't have much faith in that. So let's say it's 1 to 3 uses, so 2 to 6 damage. And honestly, that is a fair amount of damage, assuming of course your hero manages to initiate damage each turn. The Vitality Conduit suffers from the same issues as Dynamic Siphon. It needs to be hit before it dispenses its health. What's wrong with just having it give health every turn? For that matter, what's wrong with just having Dynamic Siphon just give Cosmic a power that allows him to give a power to another hero? Then we have the Wounding Buffer, which is okay at best. It deals 2 damage to the villain that hits its hero. It's basically Wraith's combat stance, except you can hit it. It's not a card that is awesome enough to really warrant use. Then finally, we have the Cosmic Crest, his only limited construct, and can only be played in his play area. This card has some interesting ideas. First, it gives a power to Cosmic, where you can heal 3 constructs 2 hit points. I am conflicted about this power. It increases a construct's survivability, but at the cost of a power use. Let's bring this back to Unity for a minute. Unity has 2 cards designed to fix up the golems. Scrap Metal takes a golem out of play before putting it back into play on the next turn at full health. That costs a card play, but it does pull double duty as being fodder for golem construction. There is another card though, Inspired Repair, which allows her to draw a card, play a card, then her golems get healed a bit. Because it allows you to draw a card and play a card, this card costs nothing to be used, with the only real consideration being timing because it's a one-shot. Cosmic Crest, on the other hand, requires you sacrifice a power use in order to do maintenance on your constructs. But the other thing that Cosmic Crest does is a bit more notable for many players. It makes Cosmic and all of his constructs immune to energy damage. This is, admittedly, an amazing effect, but only against certain villains. Even though energy is the 2nd or 3rd most common damage type, it is still limited usefulness. Sure, Infinitor will have trouble hurting Cosmic, but Apostate won't care. He might be safe from Blade's Sword Swing, but not from his Regression Serum. This is going to be a niche card that you will only use against certain villains. And that touches upon possibly my biggest issue here. It's all niche. I already know that there will be lots of people who will argue specific combos. I know giving Cosmic Weapon to Fixer is amazing. I know that Dynamic Siphon on Argent Adept can be very powerful. I know that Autonomous Blade multiplies its usefulness if you get its hero to act outside of their turn, like Stuntman does all the time. I do not approach games asking for synergies. I am not going to approach a game and say, I'm playing Captain Cosmic, so you have to play Fixer, and you have to play Legacy, and you have to play Argent Adept. The character has to be able to perform in any situation, against any villain, and paired up with any team of heroes. If they do not accomplish this, then I'm sorry, but they are a poorly made hero. In this sense, Expatriate is a more well-made deck than Captain Cosmic. But there is one more thing I'd like to talk about. The promo cards, the variants, the different official versions. Last time I did a deep dive like this with Expatriate, the variants didn't really matter all that much. It mattered slightly, but it didn't change things in the grand scheme of things. This isn't the case for Cosmic. He has 4 variants. His base variant has a power that allows him to look at and either play or draw the top card of his deck. With some luck, that allows him to play 3 constructs in a turn, with a card play, the power, and unflagging animation. Problem there is that you don't know what you are getting when you use the power. You won't know if you are getting anything useful. I'm not sure an extra card play in the context of Cosmic's deck is worth that uncertainty. Then we have his Prime Warden's variant. And while I love his jacket, I don't love his power. When used, until the start of his next turn, whenever a construct is destroyed, it may be shuffled into the deck, so Cosmic can draw a card or play a card. This sounds like a good deal, since the idea is that he would have lots of constructs, and it would be insurance against their destruction. Problem here is, first, we lose all the preparation speed. He's back to only 1 card play per turn instead of the projected 3 from his base variant. You will lose the play from the power, and unless you allow constructs into the discard, then unflagging animation is going to be useless to you. It should also be noted that because the effects end at the start of his turn, unless you do some finagling like card plays out of turn or using Augmented Ally on Cosmic, then the effect does nothing for Cataclysm or Disruption. Why have a perfect setup for cards already in his deck if you're not going to allow people ease of taking advantage of it? Extreme Prime Warden's Cosmic deals 1 damage to 1 target by Cosmic and then by all his constructs. So that's a guaranteed 1 damage and a probable 2 damage. Hallelujah! He makes the bare minimum damage. It's not exciting though, unless you get some good damage boosts going. He's still lost his speedy setup, but animation can still work. And I will say I do love his intro quote. And then we have Requital. This feels like the only one that plays consistently well for me. The power is to play the top 3 cards of the deck in whatever order you choose, and then, if you have 4 or more constructs after that, have them all hit Cosmic for 2 damage. Which sounds bad, but it is controllable since Cosmic has construct destruction available, but is also easily mitigated by simply giving Cosmic 1 or 2 of the bracers. It makes it so that you have the potential to play 5 constructs in one turn, or play some constructs and immediately break them for the side benefits, or whatever other wild thing occurs to you. This version of Cosmic, I feel, gives the most freedom to work with, and finally makes him work well compared to the other heroes. I'm just a little confused that it took 4 variants to get to the version that I'm satisfied with. It also confuses me that this is what they did for the deck, for this character considering how far into the game this is. Cosmic came out in the Wrath of the Cosmos expansion. That's the 5th big expansion that Greater Than Games made. They had already made 21 heroes by then. They learned how to make cool and interesting heroes, even ones that are similar to him. So I'm just really confused as to what the heck happened here. Cosmic has an interesting thing going in the lore, and he is a Prime Warden, who are described as 5 standalone badasses who are stronger by being badass in close proximity. That implies they are all self-sufficient and capable of handling things on their own. Unfortunately, I'm not getting that from Captain Cosmic. So there it is. Everything that I can think of to defend my point. I know that there are a lot of you that love playing him, so I have to ask you, am I missing something? Does he have more value as a hero than playing niche combos? If I am missing something, please let me know, because at the moment I can't bring myself to enjoy playing him. He's just not fun. I hope you have enjoyed this whole thing. And if you didn't, I hope it didn't annoy you too much. Next week will be the last Distinguished Cards video, and after that, who knows? Take care, friends. Though Sentinels does a very good job... Dang it, Meg. Luminary's devices have 5 hit points, and... It's not hit points, it's apparently hip points in this. Friggin' typos. Her turret bot has damage... That is not correct. It's not the turret bot that has damage reduction. It's the platform bot, that's what it was. Vitality, blah 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 blah, or heal them with your abundant amount of area of effect damage. It's not any less, and as sincere, I can't talk today, my god. But on the hero's turn and at the cost, blah blah blah, my god, I can't talk today. Scrap metal takes the golem out of play before putting it back into play with the next blah blah blah. With the way I write these things, I sometimes read them as if they're run-on sentences, and it annoys me sometimes. Hey. Who are stronger by being badass in close proximity. Proximity? Really? Alright. Last time was 28 minutes, let's see how long this was. A full 30. Very nice.